Hello, welcome to our podcast, episode 138 on Stop Killing Games. So today I want to talk about a movement started by Accursed Farms being, stop killing games. It's a movement to, make so we can keep games that, we bought, making certain that, if we buy a product, we, get to keep it because, theoretically, something digital should be able to last theoretically forever, you know. In practicality, there's a lot more to it, but in general, like, something should work. I mean, like, if I have a copy of, a disc copy of, like, Halo 1, and I still have, like, a Xbox One that, not technically Xbox One, but Xbox, because Xbox One's something different, but either way, if I have the original copy of that and play on that, it works. It should work. Unless something happens to this, it just works. Like, no, Bethesda thing where it's like, it just works. No, it actually works. Like, like, and still to this day, like, have old disc copies of stuff with, the original things, and it still, works. Like, that's the key, concept with this movement is that, you know, if we've bought something, we should still be able to use it because, that's how things, generally work. Like, you'll keep using the thing until it's no longer physically possible. But for digital stuff, it's beyond sort of that realm of physicality, so it should, theoretically last longer. But, people don't always seem to care, like, oh, it's just, one game, like, but for some people, that one game, could be their, childhood game, like, or a game that's very important to them, like, it's a, kind of, slippery slope, like, just to say, like, oh, it's just one game, not like this is going to happen to every game, but it will in time, like, every game may eventually face the same problem, like, you gotta think, long term, occasionally, like, eventually it could be the games you like that could be on the chopping board, and I'm sure you won't be too happy when the developers just say, nope, we're not doing anything for this anymore. Like, and that's sort of like the principle. Like, sure, like, you might not care about like every game in the world, like, that's, unrealistic that you're gonna care about, every game in the world. But it's more about the principle. The principle of, buy a thing, keep the thing, and hopefully it shouldn't, stop working unless, the technology has vastly changed. Like it's an old school game, that only runs on like older systems, and unless the developer, makes, it compatible, it's like, what can you do? Like, you can't play the game in that case, so, yeah. So it's just so that, like, with mind games, they survive a bit longer, like, obviously, like, it's an uphill battle, keep it games alive forever. Like forever's a long time, and eventually, the developers of these games, will, you know, eventually no longer be around. Like, it'll be up to technical, future generations of, the same companies to try and continue to preserve things. And as time goes on, there's obviously naturally going to be, more games that exist. So it's going to be a lot harder to, keep, lots of games existing when, eventually there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, if not eventually, tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of games are in existence because, the course of human history will always, turn. But it's more of the principle of, at least, within reason, that there should be some level of keeping the game playable once it's, the, end of that game's life cycle. Like, there should still be some period of time afterwards so that you can still enjoy it for your lifetime. So, like, if we're going, regular human lifespan, let's just say the person is 20, a reasonable thing is maybe, like, even though this might be overkill, maybe 50 years, up until a person is 70, so yeah, like, 50 years, something should be preserved, like, at that point, beyond, like, well, yeah, again, the developers may no longer factor into the equation after a certain point, but still, like, having it for a long time be useful, handy, keep the games alive, even though 50 years is a lot. Yeah, at that point, it becomes, uh, you know, the, you know, responsibility of others, like, if they want to keep the game alive, like, the game should be playable, once the developers leave it, so the developers have to do their part. But yeah, from that point onwards, yeah, it should be playable, and then it's up to the community to keep it alive. And yeah, so it depends on how long, I guess, the community lasts. So it might only be like 10 years, 20 years. Like, depends on the community and what the game is. And yeah, some games would surely live longer. Like, like games that sort of have other games or like platforms for sort of games like Gmod and VRChat, for example. I think games that would kind of live on like essentially indefinitely, as long as there's always someone makes certain like the core stuff of the game continues on, like the base bits of it. Uh, so as long as the base bits remain intact, the core functionality, you know, those games could continue to live on because those games usually, you know, benefit from whatever's popular. Like, they'll still be, I still feel like there'd be like the relatively the same game modes will always live on through time. Like, there's always been different versions of, like, you know, the murder slash traitor slash, uh, imposter sort of game, being, murder, Trouble in Terrorist Town, Among Us. Now, more recent examples are like that Office game where there's like the slackers versus, the actual employees. Like, there's always those same similar sort of game modes that, you know, that there's a dozen versions of them and there'll be a dozen more versions of them, but the same relative concept continues, just it gets iterated through time. The concept of there's someone or a few someones that you can't trust, and it's up to you to complete the task or suss out whoever's the traitors. So whether it's inevitably called in the future, that's not what matters. It's that that constant evolution will happen with a game like that. So as long as it's playable beyond its final death, it can continue along, and some games will sort of like probably ride on like forever. They're just games that are, universal. Like, the concepts will continue along no matter what it's called in the future. The concepts live on. So yeah, like that's all I'm saying. It's like developers probably should do a bare minimum to make certain that it's in the state where that can happen. And that's why, I think I resonate with, Accursed Farms, stop killing games, because, the death of games is one thing, in the grander gaming industry thing. But imagine, like, our problems if we gamers actually got together more than just, stop killing games where it's, keep the games alive, but, microtransactions, if we actually try to get rid of more of those, like, microtransactions have always definitely taken some hits. Now it's usually always like battle passes or something like that. Like, but there's still a few that definitely still have that same sort of, microtransaction angle. So, yeah. Not to mention, games or, you know, consoles getting more expensive. Like, you know, sort of price gouging, I believe is the term. Uh, like companies, trying to, push the needle more and more so they get, more money. Like, it's, there's not just one issue, like, that could potentially be solved. And if, Stop Killing Games is successful, it could, lead on to other things. It could be a domino effect. But if we don't help it, it just shows that, we have really come, lazy and complacent. Like, that will just let the, big companies continue to get away with their, dumb practices. And as long as that trend continues, like, it'll be, more and more rare potentially that we actually get gems of games, like indie games. Like, it's really indie games that keeping, the industry, like, truly alive. Like, if it wasn't for, them, I feel like, you know, like, that, you know, like, gamers would realize, like, more so that we're playing nothing. We're playing absolute, nothing that was not really made with much. Well, maybe made with something, but it's like for the only purpose of getting money out of us, not with any, like, heart and soul. So, yeah, like, if it wasn't for indie games, like, like, who knows if I still be a gamer, like, because most of the time, like, I don't care for some games. There's still some, good games, like, that have some soul to it, but it feels like it's getting rare and longer between, like, those products of high quality that are made by AAA, like, studios. Like, it's getting longer, it's becoming rare, it's the soul is being ripped out and all that's left is hollowness. So, yeah, like, I think it's very important critical that, you know, that stop killing games, even though it might seem simple on the surface, and it's like, is it really something that needs to happen? But in my opinion, I think yes, because, like, if we're complacent on, not doing anything now, like, imagine what will happen in the future. Like, it's the one chance to really show that, you know, like, gamers will unite and we won't just, sit idly back and let things get worse. We'll actually do something, like, even if it's just one small thing at the moment. Yeah, again, it could be a domino effect. Stop killing games could lead on to something else, which could lead on to something else, and it's can come a domino effect where maybe, just maybe, the games industry can be more like what, people remember, like the good days of gaming before corporate greed and dumb stuff, like, yeah. And what makes this, like, even more thing, recently I was, like, watching, like, a video came out recently of the Act Man talking about, midnight game releases, like, with how times changed, like, like how, with the modern era of, gaming, it's just easier, buy digitally. So it's just more convenient that that thing from the past no longer happens. But it was, a time where, so much cool and crazy things could happen. But that energy, was sucked out, One thing died because of the changes of time. So, I just don't want, other things to potentially lose their soul, because if we don't support this, that means it's just one more step to, you know, more soulless actions from, the big game, sort of corporations. It means that, our favorite games may not be supported, and, we can't play them, if they're not supported. So, yeah, like, I definitely want it to succeed. So, yeah. So, yeah. But I guess, I should mention, the main, group that can help at the moment with the stop killing games thing from Accursed Farms. Mainly, Europe is the main next thing for the stop killing games. So if you're European, please consider, helping Accursed Farms out, because I think, yeah, again, success will be infinitely better than failure, because failure will just show that we don't care anymore. And if we don't care, then of course things are gonna get worse for video gaming. Like, it's not just about keeping the games alive, it's, so much more. I feel like it's so much more, and things have already died. Like, you know, the same, energy of the, gaming as a industry has died out. We've lost midnight, game releases. We lost E3, like, that was a key thing for a long time. So now it's just, the big companies doing their own, showcases, which, shows that, that there's, not that same thing anymore. I mean, there's some, conventions and stuff for games and stuff that aren't just, big company stuff, but still, gaming has been on the decline for like the last, decade, and it hasn't really gone bad. The only thing that, really has made a difference really is indie games. Yeah, again, they're really the only thing that keeps some semblance of hope alive for the game industry at this point for me, but it's getting worse and will probably only get worse, so that's why, again, stop killing games, I feel like, is the goal. It might seem like an over exaggeration that's a one chance, but, like, I think there's some truth in it. Like, if we don't do this, what else will we not do? Like if another movement comes along and then, there's not enough support to, get it done, like it will show an opposite domino effect. Like the opposite of the domino effect that I would personally prefer, which is a domino effect where, the industry gets better, like, people start caring, domino effect where maybe games actually, have quality again. That would be nice, I don't want, play slop. I want, play games that make me think, make me feel, engaging games. Sure, they don't all have to be super, memorable experiences like that you'll remember for the rest of your life, like ultra mega games, but at least, the quality of where it's like a game where it's good and engaging, like you might, inevitably forget about, but then again you might, eventually return to it like, yeah, this was a good game. Not the super best game ever, 10 out of 10, blah, 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 blah. At least a game that's, enjoyable, playable, everything a game should be, like, especially on release. There's another thing, game companies rushing their products out. You know, there really should be some, best standards of things, it should be out when it's ready, not when it's like 90, 80, 70, 60% ready. Like, and I feel like that percentage is only somehow gonna get lower if, things continue to go the way they go. You want a 50% playable game, 40%, 30%, 20%, 10%, 0%? Actually, that's sort of already happened before. There's definitely been games where it's just completely like unplayable because it's like, online only or something. Like, that's already technically happened, but I'm probably more referring to like games that aren't online, like sort of single play experiences. Online always, well, I guess, break the, uh, you know, the bar graph, as it will be like a outlier because there'll be plenty of online games that are, at 0% functionality on day one, like, so yeah, that be playing that part. So yeah, it would kind of skew the bar graph. So if we're going, single player only, then the bar graph, be more accurate. But still, online games shouldn't be, ignored just because I'm just specifically focusing on single player in this case. But yeah, either way, should be playable, shouldn't be progressively getting less and less playable. It's only a matter of time before it's like, we'll release the game even though it's alpha, not even beta. We'll release the game as a prototype and people, spend full price for it because we're that greedy. Like, it might seem like a joke now, like, but if things go the way that they have been going, it's only a matter of time before, a game, gets released in an essentially alpha state. We've probably already had games like that. It's like there's probably already been games like that where it's like, oh, it's Alphabet gonna, make it full price. It's only a matter of time before prototypes, get sold for ludicrous amounts of money. might seem like over exaggerations now, but 10, 20, 30 years, who knows? If we don't do something now, those realities will become, not just a joke, but facts. Like, it may already be fact and we just don't know it or haven't seen it. It's like, some people may be crazy enough to have done that sort of thing, so yeah, like, it might seem crazy now, but give it time and it will happen. So it's best to, do what you can now rather than later, and not be complacent and, maybe help where, help's needed, push back against, greedy corporation companies for video games. And that's why I am definitely a firm believer in, stop killing games. It's like, it might seem like exaggerations, it might seem like it's like crazy, like, accursed farms, you're crazy for doing that. You're crazy. And Orange Papa, you're crazy too, because you believe in this man, but then again, like, you look at where things were once and where things are now, it's quite clear the picture that's painted. You can't ignore, where things are potentially going if we don't try to start doing something, now. We've done things, definitely, because, well, actually, it was more the governments, like, the governments realized that, microtransactions, weren't that great, and, actually, stepped in and regulated things. I mean, it was probably us, complaining about it that, prompted it to happen, but still, we've done a few things, but, small things, like, a few small things here and there won't win, the war. Like, it's winning the battle, but, like, the war is far from over. Like, if we want games to be good and stuff, like, playable, functional, enjoyable, all things that games should be, but it's slipping slowly, and excuses like, it's fine, it's just one game, and like, it's fine, it's just greedy corporations, like, it's a slippery slope where eventually it's gonna catch up to us and we will realize we're beyond the point where we can do anything. It's like, oh damn, we should have done something years ago. We should have listened to crazy maniacs, because maybe they weren't that crazy, because it might seem overzealous, but, passion can seem that way at times. Like, it can seem like madness, like we're fanatics, but it's all for, if we don't put in the, passion, show that we care, then how are, other people supposed to follow the madness? Like, if you don't show the passion, like, it seems like this person doesn't really care about what they're talking about. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna follow them. Like, that then we're gonna lose, people if we don't show that we care. Like, it's better to be, crazy, like seemingly crazy. Like, yeah, like, and there'll always be those shootouts. So like, I don't know, but it's better in the long run because more people will hopefully see that, accursed farms is right. That I'm right. That anyone else that has mentioned these topics before are right. That eventually things will probably get worse, and we need to do something that at least, even out that, line, stop it from going down, and at least stabilize it at a flat line, which doesn't seem ideal. We probably want it to go up more than down, but at the very least, the starting point should be to get to be a even line, one where it's not going down. It might not be going up, but at least it's not going down. Like, so it's better for at least the start point to be where we're dead even at the moment, but at least we're no longer going down. That's an improvement to where things were before. It means we won't be, at the very least, crossing that threshold of where we no longer have a chance to change things, because eventually that threshold will be probably crossed if we don't do something. So as long as we're swimming just above that threshold, it's fine. Obviously, up is the ultimate direction, but that will rely on the domino effect. That's once this succeeds, more things begin. Like, more stuff begins, because one battle is only gonna, like, keep it, the line from, dipping, that's, a little bit faster. Like, it's only one issue in the grander scheme of everything that's, wrong with the gaming industry. Like, there's so many more issues. And I've been focused, purely on, sort of functionality, game, whatever, lots of game related things, but I haven't even mentioned, the people working on the games, the industry, shopping, hundreds of people, from, working on the games, like that's something, we could be, talking about more, and maybe even being like, hey, maybe we should, help them, and, make some, thousands of people don't get fired on a daily basis, or monthly basis. Daily might be like not really true, at least right now. Yeah, again, with things always getting worse, that possibility could eventually come true as well. So, yeah, again, it might seem like our exaggeration, an intentional one at that. Like, I don't know if that would happen. But then when I think about it for a little bit longer, then it's like, oh wait, maybe that will happen. Like, who knows? Especially with AI, and who knows how long until more games are made with AI. Like, there's already games that messed around with different AI elements, like AI, like generate speech, and talk to someone, they respond through AI. And there's also been AI's been used to like texture, like texture upscales, and like remakes and remasters, make it easier, whatever, for them making those remakes and whatever. So it's kind of taking away from people that could have worked on it, could have worked on it, and money. It's AI could be taking away jobs eventually at a rapid pace, when it is thousands of days. Not days. Why would I say days? My brain is broken up. Thousands of people being taken off per day. Yeah, that's probably why I said thousands of days, because it's the next part of my sentence was going to be per day. Oh God, my brain is broken at times. God damn it. But you get what I mean, where eventually it could be at a point where thousands of people are being taken off by the day, because there's thousands of different companies, and if there's no need of those people anymore, if the AIs are getting to that point that people could be taking off left, right, and center, like it's gonna come a thing where it could come more and more common. So we should help, not just for the fact we like these games, but people's livelihoods are at stake, and they should be able to stay on, because most of the people being fired aren't the people making the dumb decisions for microtransactions and all that. Like the greedy management, and like people that the the ones, funding the game, like, we want, $1 million back tenfold. Like, we funded your game, now give us our damn money. Lord. Like, most of the people being fired aren't the problem. Like, occasionally here and there, but usually 99% of it will be like the people that were just working on it and, were doing their best under the circumstances and situations to try and make, good as a game as it could be with whatever restrictions there may be. But, the game still is ultimately corrupted by that heartless, soulless, nature of things. So yeah, it's it's unfortunate that so many people are losing their jobs, and we could do something, and it could be possible that we could help, but so far something like that, to my knowledge, hasn't really happened. So the good domino effect would allow for things like that to happen. So it might seem like maybe, something like stop killing games is nothing, but it's so much more than just, one small thing. It's sort of like, just another piece of a long going puzzle. Like, if we help with this, how microtransactions got pointed out, it'll be another step in the right direction if we help stop killing games. It'd be another step towards a sort of better future. So yeah, it might seem like nothing, but it could be so much more if, things go well. And at the very least, if it succeeds, it's delaying the inevitable. And if the inevitable hits, at least we did try as long as possible, but they won the battle for perseverance. Their greed tactics wore us out to a point where we literally couldn't muster the strength anymore to fight the battle because they won. But, I don't think I would want that to happen, where we absolutely lose, somehow, uh, a few greedy companies, well, there's technically dozens of greedy companies, beat, millions of gamers. We have the numbers. Like, a few dozen companies shouldn't be able to beat literal millions, but literally tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions. But like, at the rate things are going, like, they will win. We will slowly lose more and more good aspects of video gaming. There'll still be probably indie games and all that, because there'll still be those that are passionate about it. But we should try and save the industry as a whole, because it's not just about us, but also those who work on it, those, you know, that, have their lives dependent on it. It's not always just about, selfishness, it's about selflessness. Sure, part of it is to do it for ourselves, there'll never be something done that doesn't have at least some, selfish aspect of whatever it is. But we also should do it for the fact that hopefully it should, help, and hopefully it can, and hopefully it will, and once it does, it's the turning point where, the war changes direction. It's the point where, we're losing hope, all seems lost, games will never be the same, some may say, but there's still that time and chance. But if we keep playing, things that we could have helped in the moment slip through the cracks, of course it's gonna deteriorate. Of course we're gonna lose out on more unique game experiences that we could have potentially had otherwise. Like, think about that. There are games that could have existed that don't exist just because of the greed, because of, the way things have been going over the last decade. There are games that could have existed if things didn't go the way they have. There could have been unique experiences that we might not even be able to fully know, because, it have to exist for us to experience that, that unique experience. So, yeah, like, sure, we missed out on whatever theoretically that was, but it doesn't mean we have to miss out on the next, theoretical, cool, ultra mega game, whatever, maybe it's not mega, but still that unique experience game that's unlike anything else. We could experience that only as long as we do the right things right now to facilitate its coming into existence by helping, things like stop killing games and all that. It's just, small things we can do to change the tide a bit, and then it exists. Just because we tried, we get, the reward. It's like, because some people, aren't going to try because, well, I don't see any benefit in it. It's like, this doesn't seem like something that would benefit me. Like, stop killing games. None of my games have ever died. Like, what's the benefit? But yeah, again, slippery slope. Your favorite games could die, and probably will die, at least one of them, in your lifetime, just because the developer no longer cares for it. So, yeah, help out hint. It does so much more. It's, so much more than just one simple thing. It's so much grander, and yeah, and I really feel like one success leads on to more success. Or at least delays the inevitable, but we shouldn't lose hope. We should try. We need to do something. Otherwise, games will die, things will get worse, people will lose their jobs, quality and all that no longer will exist as much, blah blah blah. Yeah, and I'm sorry to repeat myself, but it's key for something like this to happen and be facilitated, as it'll make certain that games are of the quality like they were in the past, and hopefully bad days will come, and this war will be won, and we won't lose the battles, and hopefully it leads to, the domino effect, and leads to, bad days, and yeah, and hopefully, people will see this as not just, craziness, but, actual, that there's a reason for this, and, that passion and all that shouldn't die and fade out. Like, the passion shouldn't be sucked out, and those, corporate leaders should, you know, be, not the main concern anymore. It's more about the game. So yeah. So back to what I was saying before. You know, people won't do something unless there's a reason or a reward. So think about the potential games that could have existed otherwise. If things hadn't been like they were in the last, decade. And we can still have that. We can still have it. But it won't come unless we try. So, if you're really going to be so complacent and, selfish not to help this, then you deserve, what's, coming, if things for gaming do get, worse, your own selfishness and, not helping, leads to that reality. That complacency and lack of trying will lead to the very things that you said, oh, they're not a concern, but then you see, oh, you're right. You were right. Yes, I should have tried. Yeah, I guess you should have, because, it's not just you now that it's feeling, it's everyone. Everyone loses. Everyone loses in that reality. So, yeah. So, to play into, that selfish angle of some people, hey, you could get what you want out of this. You could get exactly what you want, helping, stop killing games. You could. Yes, I'm, playing you as the fool, but if you don't actually try, then you might just be the fool in this case. You are the jester. You are the clown. You are the one allowing, the end to come when you could be the one that changes the tide. You could be, the hero, but you're being foolish and not trying. So if you don't try, obviously reality will sort of make itself and that bad reality becomes the truth, and then you regret when you could, you know, have done, something. So do something, now. Even if you're like not European, like that's, the specific thing for Stop Killing Games right now, tell your European friends, get them to help and, first spread the message, because they're the ones that will be that, first step. So, yeah, well, technically, next step, there's been a few things within Stop Killing Games at this point, and I guess it's unclear at times what will happen because, governments will take their time to do things, and the governments, are governments, they're slow, they're kind of incompetent, that they, might be a part of the reason why, people won't try, because if we rely on the government to solve our problems, then we're not really going to get anywhere, are we? But we should try either way, as it sends a clear message directly to, the big game companies that, hey, we're not going to take this anymore. We're standing together. The government is coming again, just like the microtransaction stuff. Your time is running short, and your, cheap tactics, Greek corporations of video games. You won't have two legs to stand on for much longer. So at least it's sending a message, and, hopefully makes the change, makes, bare reality, delays the inevitable bad reality from forming. So if you're worried about the government angle as that is a genuine concern, I think that it doesn't matter if it takes the government a long time to ultimately make that decision, even if after like that these things are technically done. At least it's showing at that very moment the message of, hey, no more. We're done with your shenanigans, video game companies, and we want better stuff. So, yeah, at least it's sending that message at the current time. Even if things don't change immediately, it's better do something now than not to do anything at all. So, yeah, no matter how you look at it, it's better do than do not. There is no try to, quote Star Wars quite fittingly, we either do it now or we don't do it and things just slowly get worse. Maybe there will be a second or third chance before, we cross the thresholds. Like, but as far as I see it, there needs to be a start now. Otherwise, if we let this one slip through, that's, one crack that, may come back to haunt us later if we do succeed in future things beyond stop killing games as, one movement. Like if there's a no, I don't know what it would be called. I'll just come up with a name like stop the greed of video game companies. That's way too long of a thing. Maybe stop greedy gaming corporations. That's easier. That's 4 words. That's an easier name for a movement. So let's think about that, theoretical. If stop killing games fails, we're going in the wrong direction, there's a crack left because we didn't try, but then there's a second thing, and we still haven't crossed over the threshold of where we can't say video games industry anymore, other than, technically indie games, but indie games is the exception. Like, it'd be very hard for indie games to completely, like, die out unless, people get greedy about their distribution of things. I'm looking at you, Unity. Like, I'm pretty sure it was Unity. Yeah, it was Unity. Like, I'm looking at you, Unity. History shows that even indie games might, be at risk because then, if Unity got away with it and got worse over time, then what's stopping Unreal going the same route, or Godot, or any other free, software that, people have used for game development? Like, it's a slippery slope where even indie games, now I think about it, also could be lost. Like, you start to realize more and more, the more you think about that, oh yeah, there are so many things that we're not thinking about in the moment, that we don't think about in the moment, like, and then realize, oh yeah, that happened, meaning there's the potential for things to get worse if it wasn't stopped. Like, yeah. So indie games also could be lost. Like, up until this point I was like thinking, indie games, at least we have hope. But even now I'm realizing, hope hope is fleeting. We need to do something. So yeah. But anyway, I'm getting a bit distracted from what I was going to talk about, but that was a good tangent, as now I've realized indie games, they're on the chopping block too if we don't try. But anyway, back to the theoretical. If we fail with this, what happens next time? Like, so let's say we're theoretically successful with whatever the second movement is, which I'm just going to call, stop greedy game corporations. Kind of generic, but gets the point across. So that's theoretically the second movement. It's the one to stop like microtransactions or something like that, or negate them, or whatever. Like the past, just further like getting them removed entirely worldwide, similar to stop killing games is to, stop killing games, worldwide. It's, so theoretically, same thing, just slightly altered. So if we succeed with that, but, fail with the last thing, so we get what we want, I think I almost said but yeah, again, there's still some technical selfish nature to all of this, but when it comes to things you like, obviously you're going to be slightly selfish about. It's the nature of things we like. We want the thing we like, so we're going to get the thing we like. So we're going to be slightly selfish, but there's not inherently anything bad about being selfish unless it affects other people. That's when being selfish is bad, when it affects more than just you. That's when you should be selfless, and this be a case where selflessness be good. So don't just help yourself, help others. But anyway, so let's say theoretically we succeed with that second movement. We've lost microtransactions. Hooray! It stopped one thing, but still there'd be other issues like price gouging, and we failed with the stop killing games, meaning video game companies are still more than in their legal right to kill the game. So because of we fail with the first thing but succeed with the second thing, video game companies are we're no longer earning as much money as we would want from this thing. We might as well kill the game, and they can't stop us because they failed with the first movement. So your past comes to haunt you. So then within a year's time, the game's dead because we failed with the first thing. It doesn't matter that we succeed with the second thing, even though it's an important thing. Without the first thing, we're missing a part of the puzzle. And if we succeed with the second thing, it only, you know, justifies, the greedy companies to do what they want, and they can, because we failed the first time. So that piece of the puzzle will always be missing. It doesn't matter how many other things we succeed in unless there's another stop killing games like movements afterwards. We already lost at the first attempt. It's going to be probably a lot harder the second time around. And video game companies will probably try and be even more prepared for a second time, like, oh, you're going to try this again, you failed the first time. Now we know what you're up to. We're gonna, do the classic tactic of, we're gonna try and break you down. Maybe even, bring out the hundreds of lawyers card to take you down this time, like, and who knows, they might, play that card even, right now with the first thing. So it's, yeah, again, kind of critical. We succeed now, so the piece of the puzzle isn't missing, and comes an even larger gap to fill in the future. And of course, if we fail, the second, movement, it's, progressively starts to become a domino effect in the opposite way, where games get worse, we, are paying higher prices, more transactions, more bad stuff, more everything we don't want. So if we fail with the second one, it's just a downwards trend, and the further down we go, it gets harder and harder for us to turn things around. And every piece we miss is a piece that may be, critical to the next thing, the next, battle. So if we lose all and stop killing games, it obviously already shows a key problem that, could arise even if we're successful with the next thing. So it really is a one chance thing. Like, we have one chance to do it now, otherwise next time it will not be as easy, and we risk everything else, not being as easy. And the more we lose, the more we don't help, the more pieces we're missing from our game board, and the more pieces we're at disadvantage. Like, you wouldn't expect a thing analogy, you wouldn't expect to play chess without, like, your pawns, or even more important pieces like the bishops, rooks, and knights, or even your damn queen. Like, you wouldn't expect to play chess without those pieces, but that's essentially what's happening if we continue to allow things to go this way. First, we're, gonna, lose our pawns, but eventually we're gonna start losing our critical pieces like rooks, bishops, and knights, and eventually even our queens. Eventually, all that will be left is the king. And once we lose the king, well, that's, checkmate. We have nothing left to fight with because we didn't start fighting early. Like, we've managed to hold the line just barely so far. Things are still technically getting worse for the video game industry, but we've just barely managed to keep the line of pawns intact so far. But if we lose this, stop killing games, that line of pawns is going to start evaporating quickly, and soon enough, we'll lose our more critical pieces in an attempt to make up the lost ground of those pawns, as those pawns could have become, rooks, bishops, knights, or even queens. Which, fittingly enough, those pawns could represent what I was saying earlier. Those potential, good games that could have existed if there was the chance. Those pawns could be those games that never made it to the finish line and never became a complete and unique product. It's a fitting analogy for what I said earlier. So, yeah, if we don't try now, of course we're going to lose the game. We're going to lose the game. The video game industry is going to get worse. Like, it's a losing battle. So I think, honestly, genuinely, the more and more I think about it, like, stop killing games, like, needs to succeed. Like, if it doesn't succeed, it's just a sign that, we're losing, we will lose, and eventually we may have lost. Like, there's still chances after, but each time we fail, each thing we don't support will just be another piece we lost off our game board, and eventually that threshold will be crossed where we can't win anymore. It doesn't matter what pieces we have left, like, the opposition has a complete set of pawns left. It has all its bishops left. It still has its rooks and knights and its queen and its king safe and sound. And all we have is like maybe a bishop and a pawn. So the odds of us, changing the bow at that point is like nigh impossible. Like, well, there's a chance, but it's like we're beyond the threshold. We have 3 pieces. They have all 16. Like, we might as well ask, and it's only a matter of time, like, before, like, even, the, final bishop and pawn fall, and they still have 16 pieces, and we have only our king, and it gets checkmated, so we've lost. Technically, the king may never die in a game of chess, so technically there's still even something at the end, but that something will be barely anything. Barely any indie games, because somehow the thing with, Unity repeated on a wider scale, the thing with, any of past, things could repeat, and because we didn't try now, what to say, we'll try next time. Oh, Lord. I'm just, sometimes, pessimistic about the outlook on video game industries, and I really hope that, gamers can actually unite, even though it might seem like a meme and joke and whatever, but there's truth to, these things, that if it happens, we might have a chance. There might be hope. There might be, a happy sort of like end of, things, but we have to try now, otherwise, like, that's, better future won't be a reality. It just won't unless we try. We have to. So, as much as it seems like weird and crazy and maybe delusional and like maybe, fanatical, we've got to help, stop killing games, because like it's about the principle, not just for losing games, but for, I think, the gaming industry as a whole. It's a do or die, sort of thing. We either do or do not. There's no try. There's, not going to be, many, if any, second chances, because who else is going to be crazy enough to be, you know, doing the same thing. Not many people, not many people be crazy enough. Maybe I'd be, but I would need more of a, you know, you know, like following and also knowledge of things to even attempt what Accursed Farms is trying. But still, we need to try. We need to try. And hello, Buswacker, welcome. And yeah, I live stream these. Yeah, and I guess it's good that this is both, you know, video and on live stream. Double dip of hopefully times where it can be seen and heard and whatever. Hopefully, you know, even small things like that. Small little bits of extra exposure can help win the battle. Reiterate and repeat to further push the points. Like, maybe I'm, you know, repeating myself too much, you know. Maybe, you know, it's worthless, but if we don't try, well, then we've failed. We have failed. It's like, and we'll regret, you know, not trying, as we'll see, like, you know, how good things used to be and be like, damn, why didn't we try? Why didn't we do? I guess another thing is, you know, I think that I can sort of compare it to is, you know, thing with Jack's films where, you know, he's trying, you know, trying to help, you know, like with the, you know, content creators must credit, you know, the slippery slope of, like, if you just say it's, you know, it's just a meme, you know, it's just a meme, like, it's not too critical, worry about, you know, doing more, but, you know, Jack has a point, like, you know, at the very least, you know, a starting point is to credit. Like, that's the bare minimum, like, and I've, you know, done that, you know, to, you know, do the, you know, bare minimum when I can, which there has actually been a case where I can't technically credit the original creator because the original creator is gone. I'm talking about Lord Bong, because I reacted to Lord Bong's, you know, confinement series, but Lord Bong is gone. He deleted his channel. There's no way to link to the original. I was basically creating a re-upload, which technically, you know, a re-upload should technically DNA credits, like they weren't the ones that created it, they just re-upload it, and I also, you know, re-upload too for, the confinement stuff for, sort of like archiving purposes that, like, what if this channel does eventually get deleted as well? Like, that's always a possibility, so I want to make certain that, I know I'm going to be around, so I'm going to re-upload to archive it, so there are very few cases where you can't credit the original person, like, it's incredibly rare, but at the very least, the principle is you should if you can, and if you can, you must. So yeah, it's just funny that I always seem to find the cases of where the rules are broken. How is it always me that finds the one exception of where the rule is broken, where the rules don't factor in? How is it always me? I guess I'm someone that, yeah, again, defies expectations at every turn. Yeah, again, I posted 650, videos scheduled, which is insane to think about. But that is something that I once did. And people be like, really, you did that? And it's like, yep, I did that. Even I'm not quite certain how I did it, but I am a true anomaly. I break the rules all the time. It's kinda my thing. But either way, I'm getting slightly sidetracked in this tangent now. Either way, it matters that we stop the slippery slope. Like, I definitely will try and, react to it, more than I laugh at, times. But, people aren't perfect, like, and sometimes people just want to, laugh and live life, enjoying, the things, So it's sometimes hard to, you know, you know, have it be fully transformed, but at least trying it is, the principle. At least trying to add something occasionally, like especially with reaction. So it's the same, principles, at least trying to stop the slippery slope and keep those higher standards so that later down the line we aren't literally being fed garbage. Like, that's the point that I'm getting at, and why I brought up Jack's films, like as Jack Jack's thing isn't too dissimilar to Stop Killing Games. It's just for a different medium, being, the YouTube, content creation thing. And hey, I like never react to like anything ever, like except like a few things here and there. So I'm creating my own unique thing. I'm, you know, giving it my best, even if it's sometimes confusing, weird, potentially, maybe a little bit brainwry at times. The madness that I put into my videos through my story, through my characters, Jimmy and Michael, but at least, I'm trying. I'm doing something. I'm trying to create something. It's, unique, hopefully transformative, something that, isn't just copy paste, add a little bit of reaction, haha, done with it, it's something more, and that's good for, video. So why aren't, video games the same, make certain that's not just, copy paste. I'm looking at you, FIFA. I'm looking at you, EA. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned EA at this point. I almost said EA earlier when saying E3, but I haven't brought up EA yet. Wow. I guess EA hasn't absolutely like been on the radar for recently, for them to avoid being mentioned this long. Like maybe it's because, Dead Space remake, that was actually kinda, good, if not great. Wish I could complete it, but that's my own thing, my own problem. For some reason, it got stuck in an infinite crash thing. But a clap and a half, EA. You're in the right direction. Keep it up. Don't keep pushing out slop. I bet you've already done it. I bet there's already a FIFA like 25 releasing, or has released, something like that. I bet it's already out, and I bet it's terrible. It's about to release, and it's going to be bad. Like, EA, please, look at the Dead Space. And who killed Dead Space? You did, EA, you did. You killed it with your own greed. You killed it with Dead Space 3. Your greed killed it. Like, there was still some good Dead Space, 3. And even after all these years, despite, how technically bad Dead Space 3 was for a Dead Space game, it still was, a decent game. Like, it's playable, it's still relatively Dead Space. It's still continuing the story, and, I like the dynamic between, like, Isaac and Carver. Like, all those things are, good things, and I really wish there was a Dead Space 4, but the 10 years, 11 years at this point, it's been a decade. Please, 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 EA, do Dead Space 4. I figure they're probably going to do Dead Space 2 remake first, though. That's with everything being remakes and remasters at the moment. It's just like, yeah, it's going to be that next. Not that I won't, enjoy. I'll definitely enjoy. I enjoyed, Dead Space remake up until I couldn't play it any longer. But yeah, again, that's, some, something to do with, I don't know, my bad luck. My bad luck just always ruins things for me. Despite, it was fine up until that point. I don't know. I don't know how I would fix it because it's literally in an infinite crash. I can't load the game. Like, I'm literally stuck in a stalemate. But yeah, either way, I'm getting a bit distracted. EA, you guys can do better, and showing signs of that, but you can do better. Better is better. you know, you know, good is good, great is, better, and, awesome is the best. So, good is, I guess, is there a lower term for better, like, bet? No, not, it doesn't work on its own, like, bet. But it kind of works. So, good is bet, like, bet, that's good. Then, great is better, and then, awesome is the best. So, yeah. I don't know, but where I'm going with this thought exactly, but either way, yeah, you can do better. And there's signs, but you don't want to repeat your mistakes. But yeah, either way, yeah, EA is just an example of bad thing, but yeah, either way, video games definitely. We can't let them, die. We need good games, otherwise, it's just gonna get worse. Quality, um, oh, brain breaking up. Make games of quality, just like, the video thing I was, doing as an analogy before. Stop the slippery slope down to, failure. We can, have the good things if we just, chipped in, like, and if they stop being so dumb, and but do we honestly expect them to change? Like, they're probably not. All that we can hope for is that they do, but realistically, it's iffy if things can get better. Hopefully, it's a case of where, you know, things go back to, you know, how they were before. Like the Unity case where, you know, it was, fine, but it was, choices of some bad leadership, and plus the leadership person was someone from EA. Just to again bring up EA. It seems like it's always the same group of people, huh? That's causing the problems, huh? It's always the usual suspects. It's always the usual suspects, like they're the reason why video game industry is not as good as it should be, and I hope it gets better. But yeah, again, it's going to take a team effort. It's going to take a team effort to do something. All I can do is make this video, again, to, be like, hey, check out Stop Killing Games, It's the first step in the right direction, I feel like, and if we fail here, like, the consequences will definitely first affect, the AAA stuff, leaving indie as our last bastion of hope. But as I realised with, the Unity case, even our last bastion of hope may eventually be in danger, and even indie games eventually could suffer the same fate just for the fact that there will no longer be people that be able to afford making cool indie games, like, because it goes down the route of, the video gaming tools must cost money. And a lot of it, even for the indie creators, potentially costing those indie game creators thousands, which is not great, especially if the indie game developer wants that game to be free. So, yeah, like, it's not great, especially since in the case of it being free, the indie developers are probably, using microtransactions in some form or manner to keep the game afloat, because in that case it's, relatively justified. I mean, they're making a whole game for free, like, one small thing, as long as it's, cosmetic only, like, and costs money, I think in that case it's relatively fine. Which I didn't actually bring up before with the, the case where I, made a second, theoretical movement similar to, Stop Killing Games being, stop a game, corporations, greedy game corporations, but if all microtransactions are gone, well, by that affects, the people we wanted to probably affect, and where we want it to affect, where it's needed to be affected, but it would also unintentionally affects the people that need it. So there's always consequences for certain actions. So that there's obviously more nuance and detail that needs to be put into a idea like that. I was just throwing out the theoretical just to you know quickly you know make an idea, make you know put my point out there. But once you think about the deeper layers of everything, it comes a lot more complex. You know where you then realize, oh yeah, I guess it'd be bad for those who need it. It'd be bad in that case. So there have to be a fine balance for the systems that would be put in place if something like that was to succeed. Like, big corporations can't, but indie can, especially like if they're making a free product. But would that also apply to free products of the bigger companies? And I guess the answer then would probably have to be yes, because technically they're not earning money this time, so technically they allow that time, but still has to be some regulation, especially I feel like price regulation, which I haven't even really talked about price gouging, which I mentioned a couple of times, but I haven't even delved deep into that yet. Gaming companies trying to push the needle of the prices of things, either prices of games or consoles. I'm looking at you now, PlayStation, goddamn Sony. You guys are crazy for thinking you could get away with it without plenty of people being mad. And luckily, people were like, yeah, this is terrible. So, yeah, again, the line has held from my analogy earlier. The line of pawns is holding. Like, we're managing to hold against, things, but it's only a matter of time before a crack can form. And I feel like that crack will be, stop killing games. It's as like it doesn't matter if you're technically a small creator. It's all about principle. And if that there's a a concept that resonates with people, it should get up off the ground. It's like the case of I'm gonna take from a video I saw recently of on someone talking about deadlock with talking about the concept of guerrilla marketing or whatever, like, um, that, my brain's losing a train of thought, I'll just continue, and if I should remember what I was saying before, because I'm already forgetting because of my broken brain. But with guerrilla marketing, the point of it is to get the thing like sort of popular based off you know sort of being rare, or it's a genuine recommendation, like it's a genuine thing, like example that I brought up in that video is that someone was not an overly big career, like 50,000 followers. I mean, that's still a decent chunk of followers, but they wholeheartedly recommended a book that they enjoyed, and then that book got to number 3 top seller. Like, it doesn't take a lot sometimes for something to succeed, like as long as it's genuine and like made without ulterior motive. And I think Stop Killing Games is exactly that. Accursed Farms is creating something genuine without ulterior motives. It's just literally in the title, Stop Killing Games. It's for that one purpose, so it should succeed. But I'm worried that it won't succeed. That it's why I've been making this, because Accursed Farms has made good points that gamers are more complacent, and it's a slippery slope, and I'm just seeing mirror images of what's happening with video creations, with what Jack's films is say. I'm just like, it's all the same. Everywhere's heading the same direction. We need to stand together, otherwise we have no hope at all. We need to do something now, run later, otherwise we're losing the pieces, we're failing, failing the say video creation, online video content as an art. We're failing to save video games as an art. We're failing. We're basically just failing to save art in general. Art is dying, and AI doesn't help with that fact, where anyone can create art. So even artists was traditionally considered arts, paintings, or the visual medium in that sense is dying. Art is dying, and in so many aspects, unless we do something now for what we're passionate about, it will progressively go down that slippery slope. if us don't band together, AIs won't. If video creators, of content creators don't band together and, you know, do as, Jack's film says and, rightfully claim your content that you made, like, that, then it's just gonna continue to head downhill. If we don't help stop killing games, it's just another step down the hill, another step down. We're slowly being drained of everything artsy everywhere. It's just another step down. So my whole point is, please, if you can, try, to help or do help. If you're obviously, in the case of, Stop Killing Games, it's specifically sort of, European. So if you're not European, it's, understandable. If you can't do something, like, I'm Australian, so I can't help. I did my part with the petition, or did I? The site was giving me trouble, and I forget if I did it later or forgot to do it, because I did try to do the Stop Killing Games thing for, the Australian side of things, and I forget if the site was working later or not. But yeah, yeah, that's just a fault of, I guess, internet and technology trying to screw over things. Like, technology sometimes is the greatest hindrance. It's the greatest help, but hindrance as well, like, to trying to help with some of these things. If the tech, the very means that you want to use for, helping with these things doesn't even work, then it makes it a harder battle. It makes it a harder battle. And, yeah. Like, definitely doesn't make things easier if it's a hard battle, but what can you do sometimes? But at least do or try and at least help, because I don't want art forms to die. You might be, complacent and be like, is it really that much of a problem? Aren't you being a little bit extreme? Like, but, that's how they're getting away with it, all these different problems have gone worse because of our complacency, because we're not fighting when we need to, and when it comes time to really fight, it might be too little too late, So once, video games are dead, once, all content creation is just slop, when Earth is roamed by AIs, who else can you blame but yourself for not even trying or doing the right thing? Like, you had the chance, you had the means, hopefully motive and, opportunity to do so, like, but you didn't, so, like, you lose, like, you don't get those good things, like, there's no second chance, it's, like life, as far as we are aware, there's one chance, it technically doesn't matter what you believe in, if we only have one shot, it's like there is no really room for failure. Like, your regrets not helping, and then all that's left are the few things of whatever is still remaining, whatever of the few good things that survived. Yeah, again, stop killing games, it is about the principle of, saving the games long term. And you might not have those games long term if this fails. So, if worst case scenario they win and we helped with nothing, absolutely not, that when it comes to like the end of your life and you're wondering, where's all the good games I once enjoyed? Where's that quality and all that? Where's all these good things gone? They're gone because we didn't try. You didn't try. Like, I might be repeating myself too much again, but reiteration until the point is absolutely gone is sometimes the easiest way to show that, we succeed together through unity, but, alone, will fail and not achieve our goals. So yeah, some things have to be done together, and some things have to be done for a principle. Otherwise, those principles will be corrupted and no longer what we want. So yeah, we have to, I guess, do the right thing. But yeah, but I think I've covered like so many topics that this should be good enough. And oh my god, this one, it's even longer than the last hour podcast I did. How? 2 hours and 23 minutes. Jesus Christ. That's really want this to succeed more than I initially thought, because I was like, oh, this is probably going to be a short episode, like not like the last hour podcast episode, probably be in and out in like 10-20 minutes, but no, I'm now realizing like through me just talking, like how much I can, how many issues you don't always think about, until you actually like delve a little bit deeper, chip through the stone. Eventually you start to see, like, oh god, there's a real bad problem behind this wall. Like, we didn't see it because the wall was in our way, but it is there. So we can't be blind forever and, neither solve the problems. We have to fix them. We have to try now, otherwise that there's no hope. So yeah, I believe Stop Killing Games has to succeed. If it doesn't, we're just one step closer to, the not so good things. We're just one step closer to, arts, dying a little bit more. Creativity and uniqueness will truly be dead. It might, again, seem like over exaggerations, craziness, fanatics, whatever you want to call it, but in the end of the day, it's just, something, those who are truly the most passionate are doing to try and, delay the inevitable, if not turn the tide. Because if the tide can be turned, then, hope is not lost, and maybe we'll actually have those good old days again. The days we remember. The days where, gaming was fun, we actually had good and creative games frequently. We had, fun times that, golden era can return, as that would all start dying, like, sort of, as the beginning, what was one of the earliest cases of, like, microtransactions and stuff? I know Team Fortress is definitely one, and it's having the Manco crates. That's 2011, so that's like the first version of like a loot box, whatever. Anything earlier 2011? Can't really think of 2010, 2009. Wait, when was the horse armor thing? That was Oblivion, so that was like 2006 or something. Like the horse armor thing. Let me check. When was that? That was probably like the first thing. Yeah, 2006. It was just a hint of greater problems to as come, like, it wouldn't be until like 2010s that things would really start to set in, like, where both, more games are having microtransactions and the quality of games, stop being, as great, like, and also 2011 is, the year where, Portal 2 released, one of the last, proper, Valve games, like, some gaming companies would no longer care about the games and more about other things like software, hardware stuff for, like, Steam VR, for Valve, even though, yeah, and it's cool, like, VR's cool, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's, impressive, what they've technically, done, like, don't get me wrong, but they're, neglecting, their original audiences are my point. Like, they're forgotten about, the original audience, and Valve is hardly, the worst case, offender, like, of, video game companies changing. Like, there's far worse. EA. Yeah. EA is a classic example. So, yeah, like, after, 2011, like, 2011 was like the tip over point, I feel like, because not too shortly after, games would, no longer be the same. And, sorry, just got distracted for a second. But, yeah, I'll worry about stuff that later. It's just stuff with that. Then, because, it's 8 o'clock for me. But, anyway, where was I? I'm losing my train of thought, because train of thought broken up. So 2011 would be that tip over point, because soon, like 2012, that, you got Halo 4, video game companies, not to understanding, the franchises that gang into, or, then 2013, Dead Space 3, that's EA, and then, probably other cases, for, 2014, probably can bring up, Halo MCC had a bad release, so yeah, that was 2014, or 2015 continuing, trends, with Halo 5, and not getting the point of Halo, and then, 2016 probably had something, so yeah, video games have been constantly having something for last decade, and even though, 2023 was a year with so many good games, like some of the best games like ever, it would definitely would have been a golden year of gaming, like 2007, like 2004. But that's the one thing that held it back, being the modern video game landscape. So instead of it being a golden year, there was plenty of failures and some of the worst video game things of all time. So, like, 2023 is a perfect example of what could have been, the, the right direction, the right thing. Like, it could have been proof. I mean, it still is proof, like, to a degree, like, that things can go that way, but it's overshadowed by the bad. It's overshadowed by the fact that there was plenty of bad stuff that year as well. I guess, that's to my points. Unless we do something now, it's gonna be the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's one of the best years of gaming, like, from this point onwards, there will always be those problems, like, popping up, unless we help, stop killing games, we help whatever comes after, and I hope the domino effect kicks in. Maybe I'm foolish to, hope on, a simple thing like the domino effect, but, once movement begins, like, the ball will roll and it'll keep rolling as long as we, keep momentum up. So, it might be hard to start, but once it starts, like, that there's so many more things that could be done to help video games. And that's why I just firmly believe in accursed farms and stop killing games. I haven't even mentioned that I probably, will, link, to accursed farms and stop killing games in the description of, this video. I haven't even mentioned that fact because I've been on so many tangents and, things about video game industry, but it's all because I'm passionate about video games and don't want it to so easily fade. And again, this could apply to so many more things, like not just video games, but art in general. Has been on the decline, for years. I mean, not just, art and, YouTube videos, like, two other examples I brought, but look at TV shows. Having those certainly suffered a bit. I'm looking at you, Velma, Halo TV series, and, other things that, try to keep a classic thing alive, or, reiterate on a classic thing, but ultimately just drop the ball and don't get, what the thing is about, and ruin it. In some cases, it's hard to see what's worse, but I think we probably can agree Velma was probably worse than the Halo show, but still, Halo show, it's still like, you could do a lot better. You have definitely elements of, I think, the right direction. There's definitely elements that, could work, but you're neglecting it, and you're not doing so well, Halo show. Now it's cancelled, so unless it gets renewed, it's not coming back. But yeah, my point is, we have to try. We have to do something, even if it might seem, like nothing, or might not seem important. It's all about the principle, and it's to stop that slippery slope. Otherwise, we will end up in the world where there is nothing left of our old memories, and we'll be wondering, where is Halo? Where is this? Where is that? Where is it all? We should have tried, but we didn't. We didn't listen to crazy, because crazy is crazy. You never would listen to a crazy person, would you? But sometimes, there's sense in the madness. The only way to understand crazy is, be crazy. And I'm definitely one of the craziest, so I definitely, am someone that, if I had the same position, resources, and knowledge as Accursed Farms, I'd probably be doing the same thing. And probably, and with how I am, me mentioning every aspect, I'd be not doing it just for, stop killing games, but also for quality games, for microtransactions to make certain people keep their damn jobs, make certain, people have, get paid and stuff, that's kind of important. It's very important to some people, especially in these times where, economy and prices of things are all going over the place, and it's not as easy to live anymore. It's kind of critical that we help where we can. Otherwise, not just us will suffer on the level of, we don't have our favorite thing anymore, but people's actual lives will suffer. So yeah, definitely if I was in the same position as Accursed Farms, I'd be doing a lot more. I'd be like Markiplier level of things, like maybe it'd be foolish to be burning so much energy into it. Maybe almost to a like a like a masochistic degree, but if I don't do it, who else will? Like, not many people, pull out their leg and risk, the consequences of things going wrong because either they fear, the the lawyers or whatever, like that there's some sort of roadblock that they fear, and it's will slow down things, slow down the march of progress. But if we always live in fear, we'll never get anything done. There's no reward without a little bit of risk. True reward can't be gained without risk. So stick your leg out, And it's not like asking, the whole world from you. Like, all you may need to do sometimes is, sign a thing, like the European thing, like sign a thing, just write down, your name, and be like, I agree to blah 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 blah, this thing, I'm sure, some people don't want to share that information, but yeah, again, it's literally, you're doing it for the Stop Killing Games, it's for the government. The government already, if you, live in, the place, they probably already have that information. Like, you're not really losing anything, like, in that case. It's not like you're giving up information that people won't already know, and plus, even if it was an online petition, which doesn't always lead anywhere, but yeah, again, it's about the principle, but even if it was for like online thing, like your information's probably already online somewhere, like hate to break it to you if you haven't already realized, but it's the internet. It will find a way of getting it, and then it will, use it to, sell stuff to you. You just gotta hope that doesn't get to those that, will use it for bad stuff, scammers, I'll pester you for weeks on end until they get the message that they're not going to get through to you. So, yeah, but yeah, still, we need to do the right things now rather than later. But I am talking for almost 3 hours. Oh my god. I could talk forever about this. It's now 8:30 and I want dinner. I still haven't had thing. Yep, no dinner. I have to do dinner myself. I kind of figure, so as I saw it in the note. As my brain breaks more, as now I'm probably getting hungry brain. Especially since it's more than just 3 hours, actually 4 hours of stream so far. Without breaks, so I'll try and now wrap up to an ending, even though I suspect that this will be a 3-hour podcast and my longest podcast. I really, when I said well, I don't expect, any podcast to be longer, and then literally not even, 2 weeks later, here I am making an even longer podcast than before. It's insane, but yeah, it's all to make the point clear that we need to do something. We can't just not do anything. So, like in the case of content creators, you should claim your content. If it's being used by those who didn't ask and aren't creating properly, because if we actually band together, make things bent, those, Greek creators, or, cheap shower creators won't have any legs to stand on, because if you take out, even just, one of the things, it's already potentially eliminating the possibility of stuff like, mid-roll ads, so yeah, just simple actions can make a huge difference. So if we actually do this, who knows what future may await us. It'll be a better future than not trying. It'd be a better future. There's just no way I think I can sell it at this point, I've covered so many angles, I don't think there's many ways or analogies or other things that I can compare it to. I've compared to, art, video creation, TV shows, again, they've been on the decline, what else, as technically movies by effect, what else, where does it end, where does it stop? Because we think it'll be alright, because despite all the pessimism and all that, we still want to have some hopes and still be it's fine, close your eyes, it's not happening. It's just, something else, it's, we'll be fine. It ain't really that much of a problem. It ain't that much of a problem. Global warming isn't real. It's global cooling. And technically, we should be going towards global cooling, but guess who's in the way of that? Global warming. We are unnaturally staying at a even line when that line should be falling, like it should be getting colder. Like that line should be falling because it's natural order of things, so that thing, but it will, spike again in, 10,000 years. But, for this time, it might be wisest to let it go down a bit, let the natural order of things go, as it's, because who knows what effect it might have if we don't let things be the natural order of what they're supposed to be. Like, for, the globe. Like, who knows? But I will be talking about global warming again in a future podcast, as I mentioned, after, seeing the thing where, temperature was insane for winter, it was summer temperatures in winter essentially, and basically for, it wasn't us, it was just the whole globe was basically summer for that one instance. It's this is concerning. Something probably needs to be done, but I'll get to global warming when I get to it. That'll be its own podcast, technically a repeat podcast, but I really feel like I need to reiterate on it again just because it's concerning. The reality that literally followed not shortly after me making that podcast, it's the exact thing that I was saying that could happen, did happen. It was one of those, Simpsons moments where they, predict the future. But, the future hasn't come yet, so, yeah, it was concerning when that happened. It's weird that, and unintentionally predict things, or unintentionally things line up or fit together between stuff with the case of my story and Hal Mike's story, weird coincidences and things that always seem to happen. It's is there greater depths to what's going on? Maybe I'm crazy, but definitely makes me, want to, be careful and do the right things now so that those realities, those worst realities don't happen. So, please, just try and help video games, try and help, anything else, if video games not your jam, then why are you watching a 3-hour video for the stream? It makes sense if you're coming in, I guess. You might be here for the RP stuff, even though it's still in the context of video games, so technically you still like video games in a way. It's a bit confusing, but whatever. Either way, I really want to conclude as definitely more I want to do. But yeah, uh, uh, either way, we need to do the right things. Otherwise, these problems will just continue to fester and potentially get worse. If we leave them, what do you expect will happen? That the problems will just magically go away? Problems don't work like that. You need to actively do something on occasion, not just sit around idly by. But, yeah, like, what can I do? Like, I've done everything I can, and will continue to do so. It's all up to you now. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. But I think I'll definitely conclude now. It's been a 3-hour podcast as I predicted, and yeah. But anyway, I think I'll do it. In summary, do what you can, and do as much as you can, for as long as you can, because maybe it is just delaying the inevitable, but it's better to delay the inevitable for an indefinite amount of time than let the inevitable come and, claim you. Because then it's just going to be bad forever. Or bad for a very long time before things genuinely change again. So don't let things be bad. If you actually try, it gets done. I fear that not enough people try, or, people are complacent, and even though you say you'll try, and maybe you do a little bit, you're not really trying, not fully going into the depths you probably could go to do things. Even I probably haven't done as much as I could have done, but at least I'm trying. At least I'm trying to spread the message, and hopefully it can. But anyway, I think I'll definitely do it for this podcast. So, peace until the next podcast. I don't. Please don't let me 4 hours, for God's sake. 2 hours was one thing, but now 3 hours. Next hour podcast, please be normal. Be normal. It's burning time away from the stuff I also want to do. The RP stuff. The main thing of this stream to be the RP stuff. One half of this stream, essentially, will just be, this, which is crazy to think about, but it's, how things go sometimes, I guess. But yeah, either way, I'm going to end the podcast. I'll speak forever, so thank you all for watching. Think about what I said, and, go to the links in the description. Please, at least do that. Keep an eye on it, even if you're not, European, can't contribute, contribute to it, right now. Keep an eye on it. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, until the next podcast, peace, goodbye. That'll be it. Yeah, peace.